The trailer for the new film from Prey director Dan Trachtenberg has just arrived from the recesses of deep space, and you can watch it below. If Prey was a grounded prequel telling the story of one of the first times the alien hunter landed on Earth, then Predator, Badlands, buries the needle in the opposite direction, full of giant monsters, killer vines, and an unlikely alliance between a young predator named Demetrius Schuster-Kalawamatangi and Thea Elle Fanning, who based on this trailer looks to be playing an android. Could the alien and predator worlds be more formally merging in this installment? Prey was such a refreshing rejuvenation of the franchise that began with John McTiernan's Predator back in 1987 and continued with Stephen Hopkins' underrated Predator 2 in 1990, Nimrod Antal's Predators in 2010, and Shane Black's The Predator in 2018. There were also two Alien vs. Predator movies in 2004 and 2007, but the less said about those the better. What's wild is that Predator, Badlands is the second Predator movie that Trachtenberg has coming out this year. On June 6th, Predator, Killer of Killers, an R-rated animated feature, will debut on Hulu. It's an anthology film comprised of 3 stories taking place in different eras where a predator has been encountered, with stories about a Viking raider, a ninja in feudal Japan, and a World War II pilot investigating otherworldly visitations. In other words, everything is coming up Predator. When Pete Davidson joined Saturday Night Live in 2014, becoming one of the sketch show's youngest and most inked cast members ever, he was the exact breath of fresh air needed to propel the show forward and cater to a younger generation, one of the defining attributes that has allowed Lorne Michaels' NBC series to survive for more than 50 years. Within 30 Rock, his self-deprecating humor and seemingly effortless stage presence won him coveted and highly competitive airtime, and also the affection of Ariana Grande, with whom his relationship in 2018 brought him pop star levels of fame. Their public engagement and then breakup, followed by intense tabloid coverage, brought to the surface the debilitating mental health struggles he was dealing with behind the scenes. In the public eye, his comedic success is often eclipsed by a series of high-profile romantic relationships: Kate Beckinsale, Margaret Qualley, Kaya Gerber, Phoebe Dynevor, Kim Kardashian, which are often fleeting and intense. But as taxing as the scrutiny on his personal life can be, it's shown a younger crop of young men that being funny, emotionally vulnerable, and authentic can be rewarded in dating. Riz is just being shamelessly who you are, Davidson tells Variety over a Zoom call. I think that's attractive now, not following the pack and kind of doing your own thing. We live in a doom-scrolling world where we're all trying to be what we think people want us to be, and that's not a healthy way to live. Since 2020, following multiple rehab stints, he's maintained a carefully calibrated life to help with his mental health. He's not on social media, is sober, and is in an arduous process of removing his hundreds of tattoos that he says remind him of a sad person that was very unsure. I used to be a drug addict, and I was a sad person, and I felt ugly and that I needed to be covered up, he says. So I'm just removing them and starting fresh because that's what I think works best for me and for my brain. When I look in the mirror, I don't want the reminder of, oh yeah, you were a fucking drug addict. Like, that's why you have SpongeBob smoking a joint on your back. Since starting the removal process during the pandemic, his arms, hands, and neck are now nearly entirely ink-free. But since each tattoo takes 10 to 12 sessions to remove, which can total up to 60 weeks when working around his hectic schedule, he says it'll likely be another 10 years and hundreds of thousands more dollars until he's completely done with the process, which he describes as pretty horrible. It's like putting your arm on a grill and burning off a layer, he says. It sucks, I'm not gonna lie. But for him, it's part of a long healing journey that he's passionate about sharing with his fans, particularly a younger generation that, faced with social media and online dating, he says is more vulnerable than ever. I really feel bad for this crop of people because I have anxiety, and when I grew up it was just flip phones and it was pretty awesome, he says. But the kids today, they don't even have a fucking shot. They don't even have a shot. So I just hope it changes and enough people revert backwards a little bit. To do his part, he partnered with a fragrance brand Axe on a social takeover during which he'll give live advice to help young guys build their confidence and master the art of Riz. On May 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Davidson will take over the Axe Instagram page and host an See Me Anything, a Reddit-style AMA focused on confidence and underdog wins. As part of the campaign, which coincides with new additions to the brand's fine fragrance collection, Davidson will also headline Axe's Short Kings commercial, premiering the week of May 12th. In the spot, Davidson gives a pep talk to a young man insecure about a situationship before spritzing him with his favorite accent. Ahead of his Axe campaign, Davidson talked to Variety about the perils of online dating and social media, his worries for today's young men, and his arduous tattoo removal process. What advice would you give young men dating today? I think social media and the internet and the phone in general makes everything really difficult and can cause a lot of anxiety and get you doing bad. We're not supposed to see everyone's shit all day. It used to be that someone found out something and then you either call on your house phone or you meet up and be like, hey, did you hear about this? And now you just have this thing in your pocket all day that will make you feel bad. So my advice would just be to just try and not let social media or this fictitious world that we're all trying to have a profile on affect how you behave in everyday life. There's this barrier now where people are uncomfortable and have more anxiety, which is only natural with today's technology. I think you just need to be nice to yourself and give yourself the benefit. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves because of the internet. Like, I know exactly what Mark Wahlberg is doing all day. I don't need to know that. That's not a slam at him. It's just an example. Like, we're not supposed to know everything all the time. That's what dating is, to get to know someone and fall in love. And that's what's so beautiful about it. So I think when it comes to dating, it should be more prehistoric and not on the phone or Instagram.